Hi, you're with Julian on the Brown Notes and what everyone's getting wrong about Andrew Tate. So the last couple of weeks, probably nearly a month maybe, have been dominated by a new kind of influencer, I guess, a men's rights activist, adjacent influencer that's been dominating the media. Andrew Tate, a former Big Brother contestant who posts videos that other people have then uploaded to TikTok, and they've been notably ascribed as being very misogynistic and holding very negative views about women and rape victims. But here's a lot of things that people aren't saying about this whole affair. I mean, before I get into that, the media just can't help themselves. I didn't know who this guy was. And every day, we live in an era now of online news media where clicks count as advertising revenue, so they just can't help themselves. That's how we got Donald Trump. He was the most clickable story. So they spammed billions of dollars of advertising worth op-eds and articles in newspapers. So we ended up with him. And now I'm hearing about Andrew Tate every day. And the other enemy of the modern era, which also helped give us Trump, is algorithms on social media like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and all these things work to leverage your clicks to sell advertising revenue. We need something like Facebook that is a subscription-based model with no advertising. The world will be a better place. And you could have complete freedom of speech. You just block everyone you don't like. That's my dream. So anyway, I thought it's quite weird this guy's a Big Brother contestant. So I actually watched that Big Brother. It's like going back like 7 years or something. And he was on it for a couple of days. And like now they're saying that his main job was being on Big Brother. That version of Big Brother in the UK on Channel 5 was one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. Never to be repeated, sadly. You would never get away with that. So anyway, he was kicked off after a few days because a video emerged of him spanking a woman. I have never seen it. Nothing he did during the course of his time there was reprehensible, and he was only there for a very short period of time. And now we wind forward to now, where he seems to be promoting his own sort of, like guru men's health sort of university, online sort of courses to, get you loads of chicks, which clearly I don't need. Just to make money, hustle. And that's resulted in lots of people spamming his content on TikTok. So the first major thing about Andrew Tate is everyone's screaming at him for creating all these 13-year-old misogynists. No, he doesn't. They already are 13-year-old misogynists. That's why they love Andrew Tate. They've already been created by a range of factors. If you look on somewhere like 4chan, the internet message board, or anywhere analogous to that, and see the way that a lot of these 13 to 16-year-old guys talk about women, they don't need Andrew Tate to create themselves. And if you've ever seen, such as in Australia, a lot of these public school boys, in Australia, private school boys, in England, public school boys, but posh schools, where the future captains of industry go. And we've seen video after video of them, chanting sexist songs on coaches, and they're already there. I think we need to ask ourselves questions. One of them is the level of misogyny new? Why are these misogynists being created? And who are the drivers? And how can we stop it? I think to a degree the level of misogyny that we've got at the moment in certain parts of the world is a new wave. And it's certainly in response every time that, the dominant force in the world is the white, Western, English-speaking male. And any time you ask that domain to give up 1% of its power, the reaction is like asking a billionaire to give up 1 cent of their money. We go nuts. we find that we are actually the most oppressed group on earth. So I do agree that there is a sudden wave of it, and part of this is the internet, because it allows tribes to be created and exist in these vacuums. You're not going to get very far in life 30 years ago being a 13-year-old and being a massive misogynist, because you don't have that banded together group, and you don't have the privacy of being able to say really horrible things online that you don't get held accountable for. You're free to do all of this stuff online. So I think that sort of tribal arena that we've got now online is a big part of it. Why are they being created? Well, one part is that there's the opportunity online to create social groups that, that can band together over extreme issues, but also the fact that we've unwound elements of the patriarchal society, giving more power to women, and holding men more accountable to their actions. And anytime you do that, there's an inevitable pushback. So I think that there is a creation of this new world. Who are the drivers of it? I think partly right-wing media, pretty much to blame for anything bad in the world. Right-wing populism finds its own sort of, like, I am against cancel culture and I'm a lefty, but right-wing populism drags everything into that arena. So I hate using the term cancel culture, but there are elements of it. Certainly people I would support on the left, Jerry Sadowitz, the comedian, where I would defend their freedom of speech, and I'm not in the same basket as them, but there's clearly something going a bit haywire with the fact that we simply ascribe all of these cancellations to people, and people saying that me having an opinion about your show doesn't, that you're not being cancelled. But that's not what happens. They do literally ask for them to be cancelled, for the show to be cancelled. It is. Look, these are young kids, but I was a 13-year-old lefty, greeny, feminist, tree-hugging hippie. I knew. I didn't know anything until, I still don't know anything in some regards. But as far as my politics and my social politics went as 13, yeah, I did. I knew a lot. I knew where I stood, and I encountered a black, I wasn't very popular for those views at school because racism was a much bigger thing back then as well. Sexism wasn't, because it was still a very sexist world. These modern gains hadn't happened. So part of the creation of this is men having to give up power. Men perceiving they have to give up power. In most cases, it's the power they have over other people that they're being asked to give up. Same with the same-sex marriage, not actually affecting people who are against same-sex marriage at all, apart from their power to stop other people having the same freedoms as them. So that's broadly where it's coming from. So I don't believe that it is 13-year-old boys being created by people like Andrew Tate at all. If you look towards domestic violence or anything like that, there is one signifier above all else: your home. How you grow up, the peers and the familial influence around you. And personally, I don't think it is 13-year-old boys struggling to come to terms with this, gender miasma of the modern world, and women have all these, and the Me Too movement. I think it's their dads, more than anything, that is creating the baseline for these people. And that's coming a lot through right-wing populist news media and talking heads claiming that their world is being taken from them. And if you don't think that's a big deal, look at a country like Iceland or Denmark. You will not see the same level of rampant misogyny as you do in Australia, as you do in the UK, where this right-wing populist media is. They breed the fathers and have done since the 1980s, and the fathers breed the kids and normalise. They're the ones sitting around the dining room table saying, bloody lefties and greenies doing this and feminazis doing this. And that's where the kids pick it up from. And a lot of these boys, particularly the posher boys, grow up being really entitled. They are so entitled to the world they believe is theirs, including female bodies. So it's a confluence of right-wing news media. The dads are already having it ingrained in them. And that feeding through to these 13-year-old boys that then have this antechamber to express these views as extreme as they want. So is it any fault of the left? Yes, absolutely it is. The reason it's the fault of the left is we are so punitive. We can't let anyone get away with anything. We attack people relentlessly for 1% of a flaw. We never let anyone off. We go after them so much it pushes them into these groups because they can't play with us anymore, so they want to find another tribe that they can be part of. We are driving them into the arms of sexism by continually telling them they're wrong, and if they ever dare be 98% right, you're still 100% wrong. And that is on us. Dave Chappelle is not somebody that comes up in social moral discourse much. He should, and this has got nothing to do with his recent comedic sketches, but he said something that I thought was really, really profound. And he said about how black people in America, the ones that were progressive and understood and were helpful, understood that when a problem is systemic, you cannot solely blame the individual, and a lot of the people that you want to turn into allies to stop it happening will have mud on them. They will have done something somewhere along the way that you can wipe them out completely from. You need those people to come over to your side. At the moment, it's 100% punitive in what we do from the left. If we acknowledge a problem is systemic, we acknowledge that there will always be people like Andrew Tate created. If Andrew Tate is banned and cancelled, it doesn't mean anything. The system is in place that created him, and more importantly, created his base that watches him. That isn't going anywhere because you've cancelled someone. It's only making them more appealing to that base, because they seem like an outsider cowboy revolutionary. And we all know he is just a huckster. So we need to understand that systemic problems require structural change, and we need to allow people that we're excluding at the moment from coming over. We've got to stop relentlessly punishing people for being 1% wrong. We have to allow them the space to be an ally. And the other component here is we have our main discourse at the moment is social media that is relentlessly preying on the darkness. Every time you click on something, it will give you opportunities to see much more darkness. And I don't have the answer for that. Maybe they could be a little bit less advert oriented and a little bit more socially responsible. But as this is about money, governments would have to force them to do that. And as we've seen with the troubles of Facebook, nothing's really happened. But anyway, we need to understand that the current wave of misogyny isn't helped by the left being so intractable on every single case. We need to bring a lot of these people into the fold. We need to understand that they're learning this stuff through right-wing news media and that it's coming from their fathers usually. And that Andrew Tate is just, like Trump, is a symptom. Someone to rally around, someone that is exhibiting the ground that was created. This isn't something that is going to go away anytime soon.